Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Always a great day when our friends from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society are in the house, and they are today. Joining us is Natalie Sherod. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Sherod. It's
Sherod.
Close, though.
Very good.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And she is the 2022 San Diego Woman of the Year. She's also a risk advisor. Pronounce that company that you're.
Cavanac,
just like it sounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
The G is silent.
The G is silent. All right. Very, very good. Joining her is executive director of LLS, and that is Kathlene Seymour. How you doing, Kathlene?
I am doing wonderful, Drew. How are you?
Fine. Good to see you again after a while. And also Jennifer Kornreisch. She is the campaign development director for the Visionaries campaign, if I got that correctly.
You did. Thank you so much for having us.
You bet. So start with you, Natalie. How long have you been involved with LLS?
So I got involved with LLS about 11 years ago. My husband was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So at the time, we were just looking for any way to kind of connect to an organization that could help. I started with the Light the Night campaign, which is an amazing event every year. And then sort of, we got through the illness and kind of moved on with life in our head. And about 3 years ago, re-engaged. And then I really started to learn what LLS is all about and all of the amazing work they do. And I kind of jumped in head first.
Okay.
Feet first, head first. I don't know.
Feet
whole
first,
body.
Whole body first and all that business.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to jump in?
So I got involved in any way that I could. I first was introduced to the Visionaries campaign, which is where I'm most involved now through a friend. Joined right away to learn more about it. It's an incredible campaign. It's a 10-week fundraising campaign, and started by nominating other people to run and raise money for this great organization. And then last year I said, hey, if I can nominate someone, I was nominated, and I took the bait and got everybody involved that I knew and gave everything.
Right. So for those listeners, what exactly is leukemia and lymphoma?
So it's a blood cancer.
Right.
And so the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is the oldest and largest organization that's dedicated to finding a cure for blood cancer. So that's leukemia, lymphoma, myelomas. They do amazing work.
Right. Is that a disease that is growing for whatever reason? Is it flat? Is it tied to heredity? Is it tied to lifestyle? Is it tied to both?
I'm going to let Kathlene answer that one because she probably could speak more appropriately on it.
And Kathlene didn't think she would be asking any questions today, but nice try.
Yeah,
nice handoff. Yeah. Nice handoff. So there are more people being diagnosed, but a lot of it has to do with the similar situation with a lot of cancers and the fact that earlier people are recognizing signs. But we do consider these diseases as an orphan disease. Okay. So there's not as many that are being diagnosed as maybe breast cancer or prostate. However, it affects our youngest.
Right. In
any given year. The number one diagnosis for a pediatric patient of cancer is leukemia. So it affects our youngest and our oldest, and there's truly no lifestyle prevention. This is a lightning strike on families. There's nothing that they could have done to prevented this, where, we often talk about some other cancers where, or other diseases where your lifestyle choices could have contributed to it. Any form of lung cancer, there's just nothing that you could do to prevent it at this point.
And that's a hard, as somebody going through, or sitting next to somebody going through that diagnosis, that can be a very challenging thing to hear because you want to be able to turn it around or figure out a way to prevent it or stop it from happening. And it's unfortunate when it's just, there's no explanation.
Right, exactly. And I imagine the key is, and you can answer this, Kathlene, or you, Natalie, like anything, is catching it early.
Yes.
Correct? And so forth, whether it's leukemia, lymphoma, I mentioned other blood cancers or breast cancer and so forth. And if you catch it early, is there a cure?
Yes, in a way.
Yeah.
What I would say is that the treatments that are coming onto the market that have been primarily advanced by LLS is they're creating longer lives. Now, when you look at childhood leukemias like ALL, there's a 95% survival rate. Okay, but we still haven't found it for 100%. Not every one of our diseases has that positive a result, and LLS is actually focused on finding cures for those diseases that don't have that survival rate.
Right.
And then the complication, Drew, is that even though in the ALL space, 95% of our kids are surviving, the treatments that we are giving to them are the same treatments that we're giving to adults. And oftentimes it goes on to create other really serious issues for these kids. So heart disease,
Sure.
Reproductive issues. So our whole thing is not only finding cures for all the diseases, but it's also improving the cures and the treatments that we have. So we're not putting people in situations where there's secondary diagnosis or secondary health issues.
Right, it makes a whole sense. And we're chatting with our friends from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, talking to Natalie Sherod. She is the 2022 San Diego Woman of the Year, joined by Executive Director Kathlene Seymour and Jennifer Kornreisch, the Campaign Development Director for the Visionaries campaign. One of the things that we talk quite a bit about on our show here, Kathlene, you know this, and Natalie might have chatted a little about it when we met at the SDMAC event, is research.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a family with a doctor. My dad was a gastroenterologist in L.A. and taught medicine at UCLA. And, of course, growing up, talked a lot about that's not inexpensive to have medical research. And they're all great, things to share with. But we all know, Natalie, that if you find a cure or move your way into a cure with this disease, what else is around the corner that you solve something else? Mm-hmm. Talk about how important the research is.
Oh, I mean, that's the reason I said I jumped all in. And as soon as I learned more about where the dollars were going with LLS, not only do they have one of the highest percentages of dollars going directly to the mission, but the amount that they put towards research is pretty incredible. And if you look back over the last 5 years, 85% of the FDA approvals in blood cancer come from LLS-funded drugs. So that's where I just kind of said, all right, I have to be a part of this organization. And I've met numerous people that in those 5 years, those drugs that have been approved has changed the outcome of their lives or their families' lives. And had it been 7 years ago, it might have been a different outcome. So I think it's the most important. Now, there are, a lot of other great things that LLS does that I obviously also support and I think are necessary, but finding the cure and putting the money towards research is number one for me.
Right. So talk a little about the Visionaries of the Year, which you're very proud to have that moniker, to say the least. I know that's what Jennifer's knee-deep in and so forth.
Yeah.
In this. It used to be called the Man and Woman of the Year,
yep.
And now Visionaries. So you talked a little bit about your role in that area. Do you work with past Visionaries of the Year?
Yeah. So on the committee now, my job is to lead a team to help find other individuals that would be great for this campaign. So the campaign itself is a 10-week fundraising campaign. It's really one of a kind. It's been around for 40 years in many major markets across the U.S. And there are a group of just amazing individuals, anywhere from 10 to 15 people. They create teams, and it's a competition to see who can raise the most funds. And what's really amazing is the impact that these individuals and these teams can make. In 10 weeks last year, 11 teams raised $1.6 million.
Wow.
And it's an incredible way to make an impact. So we love meeting people that have the drive, that want to make a difference. And so our role right now is to find that group of people to see who can help keep leading in this charge and really leave. For me, it's something that I can promise throughout my life will be a top moment.
Well, that sounds great. When we come back from break, I want to talk a little bit more about that aspect too, about, listen, this is a common refrain in our Spotlight on the Community show. And yes, obviously it's treating that person that has the disease, whether it's leukemia and lymphoma or whether it's Huntington's disease or Alzheimer's, but it's the family members, as you well know better than anything, because of your husband and all that. And knowing that there's someone there shoulder to shoulder with you that relieves enough stress as it is by that aspect. We want to talk about that as well. And also, there's a lot of great programs going on that just frustrates the hell out of the people running them because I didn't know that program was available.
Right.
I want to talk about how we can get that word out too. Does that make sense?
That sounds amazing.
We will absolutely do that when we return with our friends from Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community show here at Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing wonderful things for San Diegans for more than 60 years. We'll be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are talking with our good friends from the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society. We have Natalie Sherod. She's the 2022 Woman of the Year. Got Kathlene Seymour, Executive Director. Jennifer Kornreisch. She is going to be the Campaign Development Director for the Visionaries program. And Natalie, we were chatting right before break about the great work you folks do as Woman of the Year, as Person of the Year. How's that sound? Visionary of the Year, everything of the year. Your job is to really gather those folks that'll be next year's people that will hit that aspect of it. But talk about how critical it is to know your husband had this disease and that someone's behind your back. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest untapped resources within Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is the support that's provided to not only the patient, but the families. If I meet anybody now that has even an inkling of a possible diagnosis, the first thing I tell them is to get to the information support specialist. It's a 1-800 number that is a dedicated person to help them along this path. So if there's anything and any questions they should be asking, because you get this diagnosis and your world is turned upside down, you have no idea what it means. You don't know what you should be looking for in a doctor, in treatment, what's right, what's wrong. Google tells you a few things, but I wouldn't trust it. And so being able to call somebody and talk you through those steps for not only you as the patient, but your family, I think is just a huge benefit. And it gives you that support. On average, once you call into that phone number, within the first year, there's over 8 touch points between you and that information specialist. So they're there with you. So I think that's huge. There's also just, you know, as I mentioned, your world turns upside down. As we all know, it's expensive.
Yes.
And you may or may not have the means at the time. So they can also get you in touch with different resources we have at LLS for helping get payments or financial aid to help you get to and from doctor's appointments, to help you pay those copays. So there's just a lot of support there.
You know, you hit something that's really important that I don't think people actually focus on unless they're right in the middle of it. And that is, I do need to make that doctor's appointment, and I need to make it on time. And I don't have the transportation to get there for whatever reason.
Yep.
The family has one car, and this person needs it to go to Timbuktu or whatever. How am I going to get to this appointment? Because I absolutely can't miss that appointment.
Yeah.
So how do you guys tee that up?
Yeah, we have a travel fund that's specifically dedicated for that. I'm very proud to say Catalent Pharmaceuticals, which is where my husband was employed, actually made a very large donation during my campaign for that. And it made me so proud that they stood behind him and they researched and really decided where it was best to put their money. And that's where they wanted to put it. So it was very exciting to see that.
Right. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and listen to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union in our beautiful Mission Fed studios here in Scripps Ranch. Mission Fed's been doing terrific things for San Diegans for more than 60 years. Talk about the caregiving aspect of what's going on. One of the things we like to talk about in the Union Tribune, where I worked for many, many years, started a caregiver online project. Because according, I guess, to the research, there's about 600,000 caregivers in San Diego County. 300,000 look like us. We're not trained. Now we're in charge of caregiving. Guess what? So now we got to be the RNs or the LVNs and the transportation and so forth, just because that's the way it is. Tell me how that worked in your world.
You know, I was really lucky at the time.
Yeah.
We have a very great family support system.
Right.
So once we saw what happened, we all jumped into, we're going to fix this mode, which might not have been the best for him at the time. So he had 3 crazy women trying to make sure he was fed and at all times. But not everybody has that support. Not everybody knows the right thing to do. We didn't. And so I think that's, just knowing again that there's a local organization that can just help guide. I think all we wanted in that moment, and I think all people want, is they want a plan. They want to know what they're doing is going to help in some way.
Right.
And just getting some general details from people that know ways to support, getting connected to other individuals that have been through that can go so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's ominous, Kathlene, that now you are the caregiver, okay?
Yes.
You are the caregiver on a very serious disease, whether it's leukemia and lymphoma or any of the other blood diseases and all that business. So, talk about how important it is for your organization. You've been doing this for quite a while to make sure the Natalies out there have all the support they need 24/7, basically.
Well, there is truly an incredible study out there that says that if you've got a team around you, not just a medical team, but you've got a team around you that is educated, your survival, your mental health, your outcomes are that much better. So LLS really is not only focused on the patient, but on the caregiver. So, Natalie mentioned before our information resource center. You don't have to be a patient to call. You can be that wife, that son, that daughter. And you can ask questions from a caregiver perspective. And our support groups are designed for the caregivers as well. So we really provide concierge service for whatever the family is going through. And getting in touch with LLS is really about uncovering the things you don't know that you need to know. Because you may call and say, hey, I've just been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And our IRC will ask you questions to help you recognize that there are sources of support that you didn't know about. And we are in partnership. I want to be clear. We are in partnership with the social workers at the hospitals. So we work in tandem to make sure that that patient is at the center of everything, that what their needs are, and we help uncover and guide towards what is going to make that patient's outcome the best possible, and the caregiver and the family's outcomes best as possible.
Yeah, no, there's no question to that. So, Natalie, we were chatting right before break that you got all these great services, some of them at no cost and all that business. The frustrating deal is, how do we make sure people know that these are out there? Mm-hmm. How do you guys do that?
Through our different campaigns. And so we, like I mentioned, the Light the Night campaign, that's a huge huge campaign that we do in the fall. I think for me too, as I joined into the Visionaries campaign last year, Man of the Year at the time, that was my goal. I mean, obviously I wanted to raise a lot of money. I also just wanted to increase the reach that LLS had. And that's my goal too, as we're building this new team of candidates. How can we increase that reach? Are we touching the right communities that weren't aware of it? So I think the more volunteers that we can get, and just the more people talk about it and share, then that's one other person that knows that that's there for them.
So Jennifer, you're a veteran of 10 days?
Yes, yes. This is my 10th day at LLS.
Very, very, very good. So a lot of this is on you to do outreach. What do you have in mind? A lot of social media?
Yes, we're definitely going to be optimizing social media. And honestly, my focus this year is going to be our Visionaries campaign. And the biggest part of the Visionaries campaign is that it's the longest and most elite peer-to-peer fundraising campaign in the country. And so the way that we spread our mission is really by sharing stories and sharing experiences. Whether these visionaries are survivors of leukemia, lymphoma, or they are the family, friends, caregivers of those individuals, they want to get involved. And so when a visionary comes onto our campaign, they surround themselves with a team. So that means them going out and asking their friends, their family to join them in on this campaign. And so by the word of mouth of those individuals each year, we can expand our reach by just word to word and contact through people. That is really, I think, the strongest way to share our mission and our reach is through communication and the sharing of stories.
Yeah, and we know those folks who have gone through it, like Natalie, obviously, is going to be a mouthpiece, and you're going to sing it from the mountaintops and so forth, chatting with Natalie Sherod. She is the 2022 San Diego Woman of the Year for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, joined by the venerable Kathlene Seymour. That is a positive comment. Executive Director of LLS. And Jennifer Kornreisch, the campaign development director for the Visionaries of the Year, and so forth. We'll start with you on this, Jennifer, then tee it over to Kathlene, and then with you, Natalie. Any final comments?
I would just say I'm so honored and grateful to be a part of this organization. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm just about a week and a half into working for this organization, and in those 10 days, I have been absolutely floored by everything that I've learned about leukemia and lymphoma, the services that we offer to veterans, to survivors, to people who are just getting diagnosed, caregivers, family, friends. The reach and the resources available were far more than I ever knew before coming into the organization. And so for me, it really is going to be a mission for me to spread the word that these resources are available, and most of them are free. And that's a huge aspect of LLS, is giving access to these resources to individuals. So I'm incredibly honored. Very,
very good. Kathlene?
Well, I would say that if you need help or you want to get involved, please look us up on the web, www.lls.org. Any of the things that we've talked about today, there's a plethora of info on the website, as well as calling our IRC, which is 800-955-4572. And I would just say that if there's anybody out there, it's January, and we are often looking for how we can make an impact. If you really want to make an impact on the face of cancer, if you really want to change people's lives and change the world, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is the organization to volunteer for. We talked a little bit about research. I can't tell you how many other cancers and how many other autoimmune and other diseases are being impacted by the research that is coming out of blood cancer. We are truly changing the face of diseases and people's lives. So come and join us.
Yeah, join us, support us, volunteer, donate, do everything in between on that. Natalie, any final comments?
Yeah, I would just say, kind of to echo what Kathlene said, if you're interested in learning more, especially about this Visionaries campaign, I can honestly tell you it's going to be and has been a highlight of what my life. And I am so honored to have been asked to be a part of this. And I would love to share more with other people. If there's any questions, I would love to just talk you through the process. And I would love for you to join us.
So how do they get a hold of you?
They can call me. I'm going to see, should I put my phone number on this? They can we put it in the show notes?
You can. Well, you know what we'll do? Why don't they go ahead and call the office, okay, and they'll know how to get a hold of you.
Yes,
right?
let's do that.
Okay, very, very good. They can go to the website or wherever the case may be. Said I heard, Natalie talk about this, and we'll move forward. Well, it's always good to chat about what the great work you folks are doing. These types of things, leukemia, lymphoma, fill in the blank, Alzheimer's, Huntington's disease, you name it. They don't know a day. They don't know that it's January the 20th or February the 18th. You can have all the wonderful events of this is Blood Cancer Awareness Month, which is beautiful, puts a light on it. But they don't know this. It's 365, 24/7, as we all know. So support the group. Natalie, congratulations on being the 2022 San Diego Woman of the Year. Kathlene, good to see you. Congratulations on your next chapter, which I'm sure will be fruitful. And Jennifer, welcome aboard. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you in some additional episodes as well. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show here on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things for San Diegans for more than 60 years.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.